Another example I'd like to review is finding the domain of something like this. Now this would have been x squared. I'm just foiling this. Inners, outers, plus 3x minus 18. Okay, so we have this polynomial divided by this trinomial, and we're asked to find the domain. Well, the domain, recall, are x values on the number line. So, what values of x would make this denominator a 0? Because if it was a 0, then that would be undefined. So we have to exclude those values. So the protocol would be to factor the denominator and then equal the denominator to 0. So once we factored this, we get this. And now finding the zeros, what would make these factors a 0? Well, equal each of these to 0. That's part of the protocol. And then here x would equal -6, and here x would equal 3. So if we put a 3 in there or a -6 in there, it would make this denominator a 0. So therefore have to be excluded from values of the domain of this x. So how would we write it? Well, we could put this on a number line, and that'd be useful. And here is -6 there. And here is a 3. So we're saying of all real numbers that x could be, it cannot be a 6, a -6, or a +3. So as we fill in the values then between that, this is what we have. So they're asking you to write this in interval notation. This would be the graph of the excluded values, or you might say that x cannot be a -6, x cannot be a 3, but all real numbers. But how would we write this in interval notation? Well, you may have forgotten, but where is this coming from over here? Well, it's coming from -infinity, and it goes up to just before 6. And we put a parenthesis there to indicate that's where it stops, just before 6. 6 is not included. But then we put the union symbol, and then it's starting on the, and that's a -6 there, yes. Starting at a -6, the other side of -6, and goes up to 3. Again, 3 is not included. The union symbol again, and then on the other side of 3, it starts again and goes to +infinity. So there's our basic values. If you get one like this, this is, the protocol to solve it. If they ask you to find the domain of something, it's what x values would make our denominator a 0. And we use the technique of factoring to find the zeros, in a sense, and then solve it. And this would be the work to support your answer. And then I would graph it also. That would give you partial credit. And then put the answer in interval notation.